101.
Welcome to Greg Gets a Haircut Part 2. We'll include the link in the explanation. Rhonda and I are sequestered, but we both want to extend our best wishes to everyone out there. I've been teaching online. Now she's going to teach how to cut hair online. And I'm not sure if this is such a great idea, but here we go.
I'd like to point out it's a cheater method. This is not exactly the real way, but it's a cheater way.
So you're holding out on them. You just give them like a little half-baked one.
Just a quick little something.
And then that way they have to come back to your salon when it reopens?
Right.
Okay,
right.
That's pretty sneaky.
Okay, so if you have hair this long and you want to keep it not clipper cut, then this is the easy way to just clean it up. So we're going to start in the interior of the haircut, and you're just going to wet it and comb it all down like a bowl. Then you're going to want to start at the crown, and you're going to want to hold it straight out from the head. You don't have to worry about the partings being perfect right now because you're just doing the cheater method. And so you hold the hair straight up. So maybe you take about 1 inch off. Watch your fingers. This is going to be your guide. So then you're going to take the hair in front of it and a little bit of the hair that you already cut, and you're going to match that up. So as you can see, you'll see where you need to cut it to connect it.
So am I going to look like Mo or Shemp when this is over?
It's a surprise. So, main thing, this right here in the bangs, you do not cut them down here. You notice how I'm pulling the bangs up. Pulling the bangs up away from the forehead right now. So, you're going to comb it up, and you're going to connect it to your guide in the back. That's where you're going to want to cut that.
This is the Ed Grimley look.
All right, so then go ahead and comb it all the way back. And then you pick up the hair from the crown again that you already cut. You already cut that. So now you're going to come back a little bit. Everything is at a 90-degree angle, straight out from the head. And you cut part of the hair in the back, you match it to the front. And then you go all the way down the head, and I'll show you what that looks like when we do the sides, the same as how it looks in the back. Same. So when I come around here, you'll see. So you're going to straight out from the head, and then you go all the way down. Actually, Kelly, I'll have you turn to the side, and I'll show the back. So okay. Go ahead and turn to the left. Okay, so right here is where you take the hair that you already cut, right here. You take your hand like that, scoop the section out from the head. Probably take a little practice holding the comb and the scissors at the same time. It'll probably take you a little bit longer. So you notice how I'm not holding it down like that. I'm pulling the hair straight out from the head here. Okay? And then you're going to pivot all the way around. So now we're going to go take the hair right from the crown again, where you made your first guide. And we're going to go down the head. That. Pull the hair up to match. You can see the guide. And then we're going to pivot around. Going to go back to the guide at the crown again. We always go back and check our guide. Start from the top, go down. See, there's the guide. Trying to get out of the way so you can see that. There. we're going to go all the way around. There's the guide. The part that you cut previously is always your guide. There's your guide again right there. You're always safe and know that you're not going to cut hair too close to the head if you keep your hand straight out. You don't want to come down here and start cutting like that because that's where you're going to cut holes into the hair. So you just hold it straight out from the head, and that's a safe bet.
Do you mind if I make a phone call right about now?
Hey, you want an ear? You want a finger cut off? So you go all the way around again. There's the guide. A good pair of scissors, or in our industry they call them shears. So there's your guide. Noticing I'm not cutting it down here yet. And we just go, there's the guide. Now, you can see right here is this hairline. We're gonna, when we pivot all the way around, when we go to the other side, we're not gonna go any further this way right now because you have to be really careful you don't cut a hole right there. So we're gonna save this part for last. All right, so you're gonna turn the other way, Kelly. I'm gonna cut this side. Okay, again, we go back to our guide, the crown. You can see where we cut it before. Okay, so this is going to be trickier because, I'm right-handed, so now I'm going to stand on this side of him, and I'm going to cut from the other side. So it's the same thing. This part I already cut. You can see that I already cut that. All right, so you're going to use a little bit of what you haven't cut and a little bit of what you've already cut. That way you find your guide. Notice how you do however is going to be easy for you, but generally you can see how I'm holding the hair. My finger is pulling the hair tight. I do this, I just realized I've been doing it a long time, so it's just something that I do without knowing that I do. That'll be hard for you to do because you don't cut hair normally. So just however you can pull the hair up and match it, you know, because it's a trim. We're not cutting it super short, so if there's a mess up, it's not that big of a deal. So now we're going to continue going all the way around like the other side.
And right here, it's my responsibility as the client to get into a really deep discussion about religion, politics, to make really loud, noisy demonstrations. That's not really a word. And to generally annoy everybody else in the salon.
How about nod your head at everything I'm talking about in agreement while I'm trying to cut a straight line?
Oh, yeah.
Or lean forward because you hear a text from your phone. You're going to reach and get your phone in the middle of this.
I feel compelled to look up and make eye contact right about the time she's cutting.
Or I'll say something really exciting. You're going to turn and look at me right in the middle of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you notice as I'm cutting like this, like that, you notice I'm not cutting down here yet. We're not going to do that right now. So we're going to leave this front section out. Just cut right in front of the ear on both sides. Go around to the front part of the ear. Leave that front section. Straight out from the head. Okay, so now that you're finished with that, the other thing it does is whenever you start the haircut in the interior instead of doing the perimeter, is it makes the edges of the haircut here a lot softer. If you if you cut horizontally here first, it makes it really blunt. We don't want that to be choppy and blunt, so that's why we're doing the interior first, which makes it look wispy. So, then you're going to comb it all back. So now, what we have to do, because we cut here, and then we pivot it all the way around, minus the front section, we're going to check it. So let's get that front section out of the way again. We're not going to worry about that.
I forgot to mention, I showed up 30 minutes late to my appointment, and yet I expect a full treatment, nice and slow and relaxed, while the other client who showed up on time is waiting.
And now you're going to ask me if you could possibly get your hair colored. You know that it wasn't an appointment you'd made, but you know with this new haircut you gave me, I bet blonde would look really good.
Boy, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to, now we're going to check the haircut. Now we're going to pull it up the opposite way instead of straight out from the head. We're going to make a section across. Okay, so Kelly, I'm going to have you face the camera.
There's the camera.
Turn around, yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Okay.
She's taken years off my life, hasn't she?
Getting there. So now we're going to go around and connect everything. So now we're going to go this way. Okay, so we're going to pull the section up. Now we're not going to cut, like we're not cutting it to cut, you know, the haircut length. Now we're just making all the little pieces connect. So you don't want to comb this up and whack another inch off. You've cut the amount you want to cut. So now you're just coming up here and we're going to barely connect, we're going to connect the dots here. So you see, right here and right here, you want to just kind of cut the stuff in between. Because you have to connect the sides with the top. So we're going to do that. This is, do both sides. We're going to come back a little bit further this way. Same thing, make sure there isn't any long pieces sticking up that you missed. And then connect where the head rounds is where you're connecting. Do it on this side. Pull it up. Make sure there isn't anything sticking out. And you see how my fingers are kind of bent the shape of the head? Just kind of doing like that. Obviously that might be, just getting it combed up and connecting it is probably going to be all you're going to manage. So, and you can, this is scoop cutting, which is just, you know, the cheater way of doing something really quick. See how there's a little piece here? And there's probably going to be a little piece over here. Same spot on both sides. Connect that. You notice I'm not taking very much off. So, and then when you're done with that, you can comb it up in the center like this. Just comb it up and pull it out like this to make sure there isn't any pieces that don't belong. So it all should kind of look like a brush where there's no long pieces sticking out. And so you just go around, you can comb it up any way, and it should look good no matter which way you comb it. It should be all even. Like that. So, when I'm cutting hair and I go back and I check it, you know, to make sure of that, people think I'm going to cut again. And they're like, oh, that's enough. You're taking too much off. I'm like, I'm checking it, making sure I didn't miss something. You have to go around it really quick to see. As you can see, everything is even. So, the only thing we haven't done is the front and the perimeter. So, now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do less is more. So you want to take off a little bit because you can always take off more later. So I would just suggest combing everything down and just combing the bangs into your hand like that. Pull it down like that. You're like, oh, maybe I'll take that much off. So what you're going to want to do is you're not going to want to cut as far as I cut here because you're new and you're not supposed to when you're first hairdresser. You're not supposed to cut past the first knuckle. So you can do it this way if you're nervous about going this way. But you can also nip your fingers. So you can do it like this. Make them wispy. Or when I was in beauty school, they told us not to cut past our knuckle. That way we didn't cut ourselves. So right here, you don't want to cut past this knuckle right here. So come there, you stop, because you can recomb, and you can stop, recomb. See right there's the knuckle.
And these scissors give you sort of a sense of false security because they cut hair so smoothly, so easily. It's easy not to realize just how sharp they are.
Very, very, very sharp. You have to. The ones I'm sending Carolina are the real deal because they make all the difference in a really good haircut. So you might have to be a beginner. You might have to comb it down to where you want it. Put the comb down. Concentrate on what you're cutting. And pick the comb up, which is fine. Comb it again. Lay it in your hands like that. Put the comb down. Like that. As hair's drying, I used a Windex bottle and put water in it.
She says she cleaned it out.
We'll see. Okay, so we're going to make this sort of arc. So we're going to comb it down. Put our comb down. And all the new clients, they freak out because they think, oh, I'm getting a bowl cut. No, you have to comb everything down to cut the ends, and you have to comb it forward. And they get panicky because they think you're going to let them leave looking like this, which is not true. I said, well, how am I supposed to cut the length off if I don't comb it straight down?
Why don't they just trust you, Rhonda?
Just be quiet. They'll get the better haircut. Okay, so now someone like Kelly who wears his hair longer like this, you have to be careful because he has sideburns under here. So if you comb this down and decide you're going to whack right in there, guess what? You're going to cut that because that's underneath there. So you don't want to comb this down and go, like this. You don't want to do that. So now, let me see. I like Kelly's bangs long, so that's the length I'll like them. They look good long on them, so I didn't want to take too much off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trim perimeter a little bit. So you might want to find some way to have a clip. We're only going to do this in 2 sections because it's too complicated. So we're just going to take part of this and get it out of the way. And then comb it down like this. Okay? So if you don't have a clip, which you probably don't, you can spray it really well with the water, and that kind of holds the hair out of the way. So in order to keep him from looking like he has a bowl cut, you see how it's a little longer here, and it goes a little shorter here, a little longer here. It gives him the shape. So we're going to, like we did the bangs, we're going to comb the length by the ear up a little bit, and we're going to put our comb down, and then we're going to cut that a little bit, maybe about 1/4 inch. That. Then we're going to comb the hair behind it, like the bangs. We're going to lay it in our hand so we see the shape. And then we're going to watch our fingers. And we're just going to connect from here down. This is the bottom part of his hair right here in the length in the back, and here's the shortest part by the ear. So we're going to take all that section right there. We're going to lay it in our hands. We're going to nip it a little bit. If you want to cheat a little more because you're afraid to pick that up, you can do this part by the ear. Then you can comb all this in your hand, or I'm sorry, you can come up with the comb like that and just do this. So your hand's not in the way, you don't have to be nervous about getting it. That'll wisp it out a little bit, and that'll keep your hands away from the scissors. And this also keeps the scissors away from their ear. You hold it up like that away from the ear. And when you elevate the hair like that and cut it up higher, the higher up you come with the hair, when you do this, and when it comes down, you have a really nice wispy look. The closer to the head, more blunt, elevated away from the head, more wispy. So this can look kind of blunt here. We don't want that, so we can lift it up with our comb, and we can just slice it out a little bit like that. And if you're not doing a lot, you don't have to worry you're going to mess up the haircut, because his hair is pretty long. And then you can say, oh, look, there's a few little twigs right there after I did that. Then you can just nip those little twigs a little bit like that. So then we're going to go ahead and bring this last little section down. And we're going to, like I said before, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to use our comb. And we're going to pull it up like that. And then we're going to little bit trim all those pieces. That gives them a little wisp, like little wispy look. Okay. So I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so same thing. We're going to make it simple on you. We're just going to take the hair in the center by the ear, like you did the bangs. Hold it in your hand. Put your comb down. Trim a little bit, just to your knuckle right there. And that's giving us our little arch right here. You see how this part's longer? We have to connect that a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to do our cheater way of connecting, and that is using your comb and lifting the hair up, sending a good comb, so it ought to help. So you're going to lift it up, and you're going to nip into it like this. Whatever you do, you always keep that away from the ear. This is why I had my sign asking my clients not to move. It's like going into someone's room when they're painting on a easel and standing behind it and giggling and moving the palette the whole time. Okay, so lift it up. You notice how I lifted up the shape of the head, so it's angled this way, straight out this way, angle that way. So this way, center, back. Okay, we're going to wisp it out a little bit more, so we're going to elevate that whole section up higher, and we're going to nip into the hair like that. You notice how I never get into this front section very much right here. We don't want to cut that out. We just want to leave that alone. So now we're going to connect that little bit in the back. So now you're going to want to check to make sure the length right here is cut to here on this ear. And you want to make sure it's the same over here. There's a little twig in here from all that texturizing. Okay, so, did we go dark? Okay, so, now, this right here, everybody has a receding hairline. Everybody has one. It's just not Kelly. We all have it. So, but what you don't ever want to do is cut into the hair like this in the front. You'll cut sections out. So you notice how I didn't cut anything right here. There isn't, nothing lives here anyway. There's no reason to cut in there. So what we're going to do in order to save, to cut in that area, because everything has to connect, we're going to comb that whole front section. We're combing it back and up. And then we're making sure everything, as my boss said way back in the day, jives. You have to make sure everything jives. So, that cuts the front. Now, we're going to work, finish up the back, and then we're going to do the sideburns with the clippers. And we'll be done. Okay, Kelly, you're going to have to turn the other way, so see you done. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. So, let's see. All right. Now, you see how nice this just kind of lays wispy? I didn't get too involved in the hairline. He has, as a hairdresser, you always lift up the hair to see how the hairline grows, usually before you cut it, but I know what his hairline does. I've been cutting his hair now, so I know it grows this way. So a lot of times you'll get done with your haircut, and when it's wet, it looks perfectly even, and then when it dries, you're like, hey, why is that one side shorter? Well, it's just the cowlick pushing the hair this way. So once it's completely dry, and if one side looks a little shorter, you have to adjust it after it's dry. So now just to take a little bit of length, so what we're going to do is the same thing on the bottom that we did on the sides. We're going to cheat, and we're just going to lift it up, and we're just going to slightly nip the ends, and that makes it wispy. This is just a cheater way of doing it, so we don't have to get into all the details. So now you're going to want to make sure it's even, so you just comb it in its natural form, that. And then you just go around the edges very carefully and cut the length off. Now, if you need the length to be a little bit shorter than what I'm cutting, you're going to want to cut the center first. So comb it down. You might want to wet it down a little bit more. So you cut it down like, comb it down like that. Okay, so then once you cut the center, you notice how I didn't pick up the hair. I just combed it on his neck, like that, and cut it. When you do that, it doesn't give you elevation, and it gives you a clean line. When you pick it up, it gets all wispy, and then you get a little riffraff down there, and you keep cutting and cutting and cutting when you can just cut it blunt. We already did that little nipping earlier to make it wispy, so then you see how this is, turn your head this way, Kelly. See how it's shorter here and shorter there. You want to connect the dot right there. So, you want to go ahead and comb the hair down. You can actually hold the hair down with your comb. And then you're done. See, you don't have to, it matches. It's going to be a little harder than it looks when I'm doing it, because when I first started cutting hair, I'd be like, oh yeah. And then I'd pick the scissors and comb up and go, okay. So don't be worried. Just don't cut too much off. A little bit at a time, because, all right, so now we're going to do the same thing over here. See, he has this corner that I have to cut. So now I have to connect these sections here. So or you can use the comb. And then you can pick this up if you want, like you did the bangs in the front. And if there's any little riffraff there, you can put your comb down and you can just barely fix that little section right there. Okay, so looks pretty good. Now we're just going to do the sideburns. I'm going to clip the sideburns. All right, Kelly, we're going to turn you around and do your sideburns, and then you'll be done.
So this is the cheater method, and it still takes 30 minutes to explain. You better be sure and hug your hairdresser the next time, because they're doing all of this stuff unbeknownst to you.
Okay, so what you want to do is get all the other excess hair out of the way. I'm going to use the clippers on this here. Hey, Kelly Dean, you got a haircut. Look at that. And you just got to clean up.
Play your song later.
No, I have to learn the drums. Yeah.
That's right. We're firing up tomorrow. Our twins are 21.
So, okay. So we're going to cut the shape into the sideburns just like this. Okay. Just comb everything down. So you want to angle by the ear. You can get the hair out of the ears with the clippers. This is if you have some big clippers, I don't know. So then you can comb the sideburn forward, like that. And then you can cut the shape into them, like so. Then you can take your comb and lift up the sideburn away from the head. And that's just an easy cleanup on the sideburn. I didn't get too involved because that would be too hard for you to do. Now, I'm going to do the other side. Okay. And we're going to clean up the neck, I guess, while we're at it on the I was doing pajama cuts too. Okay. So I'll show them the back. Comb the sideburns back toward the ear. Bring them to the side. Cut the shape around the ear. Get the hair out of the ear. Comb the sideburn forward. And then we're going to shape the sideburn. Because what you don't want to happen, if you don't comb this forward and cut it, and the wind blows, then you've got all this riffraff around the face. And you comb it down. So it's back from the ear, shape, forward, shape, down, straight across, and then you're going to want to lift it up, away from the head. If you leave the comb way down here to the face and you use the clippers, that's going to be cut super short and he'll look bald. So you always want to hold the comb out from the head as far as you can get it to be that sideburn. clippers are tricky. I'm going to be careful. Okay, now we're going to clipper the neck, and then we're done. Okay, Kelly? You turn around. You don't have to move the chair. You can just, if you don't want to.
Here?
Yeah. All right, so turn to your left. So we're going to, because his hair is long, we don't need to really clipper this, but has a lot of crazy hair underneath, so we're just going to go underneath a little bit and clean up his neck. Angles are a little weird because I'm doing this in the kitchen. I'm doing it without my hair cutting chair. And just get all the little neck hairs off. When you lift this up, you're not cutting into that haircut. All right, Kelly, turn around. Just a little cleanup. Turn your head to the side. Other side. Then we're going to, this I'm just going to do because he needs it, and I'm going to trim his eyebrow hairs. Better get my glasses on this one.
Martin Landau going on.
Okay, so you make sure that you don't clipper the bangs. Comb the hair up. Be careful. This one you don't really want to try at home too much.
That's my unibrow doing it.
Yeah, I get that too. Everybody come back yet? What's going on here? I don't know.
Hey, you're on the internet.
We did a video haircut.
Are you filming for?
For Carolina. Now I have to do one that's short with a clipper cut. So anybody that she knows that has somebody that has a clipper cut, I have to do one of those. I think Noah Simmons has volunteered for the clipper cut one.
Do you want to make that another video?
Yes, the clipper cut one is.
All right. Well, we'll do the clipper cut. After that, the next episode, I get to cut Rhonda's hair.
No.
Watch out for that. That's
No.
gonna be fun. Thanks, y'all.